Good afternoon, ladies. I'm going to do a really quick tutorial of the Afrocentric fall wreath that you all saw in Black Girls Craft that I put together. I'm not the creator of the idea. I saw it in another group. I don't remember who is the original creator of it, but I'll show you guys how I put mine together. Stay tuned. So we are going to start with just the basic supplies that I used to put the wreath itself together. This was a Dollar Tree kind of wreath. All of my supplies came from Dollar Tree except for this brown foam, which I got at Michael's, but it was just $1. So first of all, I do use an 11 by 17 sheet of the brown foam. I got this at Michael's craft store, and I run it through my Cricut machine. I don't know if you can see the cutout, but I used an SVG file and of a black woman silhouette, and that's what I utilized. And then this will just kind of tear right out of this foam. So that's how I did her actual face. I understand there's some ladies on Etsy that you can order this from, or the plaque or something similar. This cost me 99 cents. Turned the file to an SVG for free on the internet and printed it out on my Cricut Explorer. I also use the 8-inch wreath form. These are 2 for $1 at Dollar Tree, and a quarter piece of the black foam poster board. You can see that's got the foam in the middle. I basically just cut a little square out and used the second rung on a 12-inch wreath form to make a circle, and I will cut that out as well. I also use some zip ties, of course, glue sticks, scissors, ink pen to do my tracing. And of course, if you don't have a Cricut, then you're gonna have to find a way to cut this silhouette out on your own. But Cricut sure makes it a whole lot easier. So let's get started. Okay, ladies, so I removed the cutout that I did on my Cricut from the foam, and that's just extra to use maybe for another project or something. This ends up being about 8.5 by 11, this little brown face, and this is the equivalent of about a 12-inch wreath form. That's what I used for the pattern. And basically all I'm gonna do is line this up on this circle, just based on kind of where the flowers will start, so you don't see the black piece of foam behind the silhouette. And with that, I glue it on. I like my flowers to kind of start where you can tell her hairline starts on this one, where her hairline starts. And so I want the circle to kind of begin right about there. And as you can see, with that kind of put together, it almost looks like she has an afro. So I just use hot glue gun and add a few dots of glue and attach this to the foam board. And I'm going really quickly. Of course, this should be drying and setting and doing other things. You ladies may have a different way of attaching it or some other type of adhesive. Most of you are craft geniuses. But with that, I attach this piece to the small wreath form. I believe this is 8 inches. Actually, let me take a peek here. Yeah, I think this is an 8-inch wreath form, maybe 6. But I will poke holes in a few places and attach it to the wreath form with these black zip ties. Also, once I put the zip ties through, I usually add a couple of drops of hot glue to where the holes are so that these stay in and don't rip through rip through the foam. So after poking holes in the foam board and the foam, I use zip ties to secure the actual form to the wreath frame itself. And then I go back and add a little dab of glue to the holes on both sides to make sure that this zip tie stays in place. So I secure this with a zip tie, nice and tight so that it stays in place. And then I go back with my glue gun and I add a dab over each hole to make sure this doesn't come off, and just to give it, I guess, a little extra security. I don't know, it might not even be needed, but I always do that. And I do it on both sides. So this is what the finished assembly looks like. You have the silhouette, and then you have the foam board where you can attach your leaves and whatever else you choose on there. I used a little bit of paint on the lips and on the eyes. I just brushed a little on and kind of smeared it with the brush a little bit to give it some color. I'm not a painter at all, so I just did it for a little bit of color. And then I bought varying leaves from Dollar Tree, leaf garland, things like that, that you can use to attach and decorate her hair. These items are all Dollar Tree. And then the flower that kind of represents a flower in her hair or kind of where her ear would be, that goes here. Also from Dollar Tree. I just cut one off of a stem. So basically, I'm gonna show you how I layer the leaves, but it gets really full and I just continue to layer all the way across with my glue gun, and I'll show you that. So the next thing I do is kind of establish the hairline on the silhouette. I kind of made a little mark with my fingernail in there. And then I basically begin attaching the leaves with just a little bit of glue and putting them on. I may go back after a moment and adjust the hairline or how far forward I may want the hairline to go. But I use for the filler this package of 50 leaves, which I get from Dollar Tree. So you get 50 leaves for $1 as the initial layer to give it a little bit more fullness. I probably use 2 packages of these on the bottom before I start adding the more decorative and colorful leaves like these. I generally use the little cheapy ones underneath so that it has a lot of fullness. But you just continue gluing those leaves on, alternate colors, you know, kind of do it however you see fit. And that's basically it in a nutshell. So I'm going to continue gluing these small leaves on. No really pattern at this point because these are going to be under the more decorative, fancier leaves that you get on a bundle stem. So after I get done attaching all of the little inexpensive flat leaves, then I go back in with the ones that are a little bit nicer, a little bit more colorful, and add some more fun things, like with more color, a little more distinct. But this here is the basic setup. And you can make this circle here as big as you would want it or as small as you would want it. You can make this silhouette here, depending on how you do your file. when you put it in the cutter as big as you want. But again, my circle is about 12 inch and my silhouette is about 8 by 12. So that's how you get it done. I'm going to continue adding leaves and other embellishments. And that's basically it in a nutshell. Just keep gluing. Okay, so I have continued to glue the flowers on and layer upon layer upon layer. Looks like I could put a little more over here, but I guess just kind of do it to your liking. And this is just a little pink and black paint that I dabbed on and kind of rubbed in on the lip area. And that is what she looks like complete. Real simple in a nutshell.